You know, I get a lot of questions from subscribers, either in the comments or sometimes on Facebook Messenger or stuff like that. A lot of questions about arrows and arrow weight and FOC and tuning and all that kind of stuff. I had a lengthy conversation with one of my subscribers here just the other day, and he's transitioning. He's transitioning from carbon arrows to wood arrows, or back to wood arrows. And we're talking about point weights and all that kind of stuff, and FOC and everything else. So I want to talk about that a little bit today, and just stay tuned, and I'll get back with you in just a minute. Good morning. Just out here doing a little shooting down here in South Texas. It's about 7:30 this morning. It's already almost 90 degrees. Wanted to talk about arrows and stuff like that again. I had a subscriber hit me up, and we were talking pretty extensively about he's making a transition from carbon or aluminum to wood arrows. So his problem, or not his problem, his question was, he was wondering how to get matched arrows. And I told him, first thing I told him was, right off the bat, you need to understand that wood arrows, even a premium grade arrow, someplace like Sherwood Shafts or something like that, even premium grade wood arrows are not going to be grain matched. Okay, they're going to be within about 10 grains of each other. Okay, and so the whole idea of that is, you know, carbon arrows and aluminum arrows you can get within a grain or two, you know, with all kinds of little adjusting weights and things like that. Now, what we used to do a long time ago was we would buy in bulk, buy like 100 shafts. Okay. Typically we didn't even weigh them. What we did was we would fletch them up. We would get the straightest ones out of there and everything else, and then we would fletch them and shoot them. Okay, the ones that shot the best out of that batch of 25 or so that we make up out of that 100, you know, the straightest ones or whatever, the ones that hit closest to the point of impact that we were looking at, that's the ones we shot. So I mean, there was a little bit more that went into it, but not much. Okay, we weren't weighing arrows and things like that. Now, of course, we had pretty close to the same point weight on them and all that kind of stuff. Which brings me to part of his question was, you know, he's wanting to shoot like a 200 grain broadhead, but he's only got like 175 grain blunts. So, you know, naturally my suggestion would be to match your blunts with your broadheads, or your field points with your broadheads, either way. But, you know, 10 or 15 grains in a point weight, to me, if the arrows shoot well, they fly good, and they hit where you're looking, you know, 10 grains one way or the other is not going to make that big of a difference. Now I'm standing here about probably 25, 30 steps to that target over there. I like to practice a little further because that, for whatever reason, that's just what I do. And I don't stand and shoot typically just at the same distance. I'll move around, or I'll walk around out here, you know, shooting at different targets and stuff like that. So again, with the wood arrows, you would be very, very lucky to find enough shafts at a it's not cost effective to do that, to find enough shafts to get them exactly grain matched or weight grain matched. All right. They don't have to be at hunting distances, 5, 10, 15 grains sometimes at hunting distances are not going to make that big of a difference. Now, some people would argue you want them exactly the same, you want them exactly right and all that. Well, yeah, I mean, you want them as close as you can get them with wood arrows. I have shot aluminum arrows and I have shot carbon arrows. And it is super nice to get a carbon arrow that's perfectly straight. All the arrows match exactly within a grain of each other and that kind of stuff. But me personally, I've always liked wood arrows. I've got the old camp house out here. I got an old quiver in there full of old broken wood arrows that I've been shooting for years and years and years. And I've been carrying them around with me. Just every once in a while I'll look at a broken arrow and remember what I had shot with it. But don't get so caught up in trying to match wood arrows perfectly. Now, you can get them very close, obviously, and if you buy a premium shaft, even not premium, just a regular dozen shafts, they're going to be within 10 or 15 grains of each other. And I would argue, another part of our conversation was, I would argue that mass weight of an arrow, with some amount of FOC, is just as effective as a lightweight carbon shaft with 25% or 30% FOC. There's a lot of people that are really trying to, get into that FOC thing. I'm shooting. This is a 57-pound Shelton, okay, and I'm shooting arrows that are averaging somewhere between 650 to 685 grains, somewhere in there. All of my arrows in this quiver right here. Now, the orange ones are broadheads. I wouldn't shoot them at that kind of a target, but they're all within 15, 20 grains of each other, maybe 30 at the most. So at 10 or 15 steps, even 20 steps, you're not going to notice. I say you're not going to notice. You're probably not going to notice enough performance difference in that to even worry about it. Now, again, some people would argue that you want your arrows perfectly matched and so on and so forth. The thing with that is if you're hunting, I'm not talking about target shooters. I'm not talking about people that shoot at exact distances and shoot for 10 rings and all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about for hunters. Most hunting situations, there's an animal there at 5 steps or 25 steps or 15 steps or whatever it is, and it's your job to put the arrow in him, So I don't think you're handicapping yourself at all with wood arrows that are within, 15 grains of each other. There's just not enough difference there. And there are some shooters out there that they would notice 15 or 20 grains at 15 steps. I mean, they're a pull and hold type shooter or whatever, a gap shooter, whatever it is. But somebody that shoots more swing draw type or a hunting, I don't want to say hunting, people hunt with that shoot gap and stuff like that. Just a swing draw type shooter, okay, that is accurate out to 25 or 30 steps. I mean, I was shooting at that ping pong ball and I was hitting within, an inch or two of it on either side of it, just kind of flinging arrows. I wasn't even taking my time. So if I take my time and really get down and bear down, I can get closer than that and a lot of times hit that ping pong ball at different distances. But with the point weight, if you've got blunts that you have in your quiver or whatever, and they're within 10 or 15 grains of your broadheads, you're probably okay. I would not grind over that trying to figure out a way to make that. Don't buy broadheads to match your blunts. You want to try to buy blunts that get very close to the weight of the broadhead that you're hunting with. If you're within 10 or 15 grains, you should be fine. Typically, with blunts, if you're small game hunting or whatever, you're typically not shooting, in my mind, you're not shooting 50 yards at a rabbit or whatever. Typically they're very close or whatever. So again, don't be grinding over trying to make these arrows exactly the same. I like them about the same length. I like them all within 635 to 700 grains, somewhere in there. And the key part of it, all of it is to shoot your bow, understand your bow, understand your equipment. And while you're out there, and you take a shot at a flower or a little dirt clod or something out there, and you see where that arrow hit, whether it was high or low, your mind's eye will make adjustments for that. Now, that's going to bring up a lot of comments right there, I'm sure. Your mind's eye gets trained to a certain trajectory, okay, and your hand automatically adjusts for that. That's why you want your arrows as close as possible. I can see that out past a certain distance out there, you know, a little longer distance, it would start affecting trajectory. But at typical, I don't want to say typical, at hunting distances where you're comfortable at 15 or 20 steps or 25 steps or whatever it is, I don't see enough difference where you should spend lots of money and lots of time trying to get your arrows perfectly matched, especially wood arrows. Now, if you have endless resources and you got plenty of time and you want to find an arrow that's carbon or aluminum or whatever to get them all perfectly weight matched and everything, I would challenge you to go out and shoot, and then shoot your wood arrows right with it and see if you're actually noticing much difference at hunting distances. So again, don't grind so much. Build your arrows, get them as close as you can, and the key part is learning and shooting your bow. So that's just a little tip for those out there. If you would like this video and subscribe, if you're not a subscriber, I make content pretty often. Sometimes I get busy and I don't have a chance to, but just have fun. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about archery, is having fun, hunting with your bow, shooting your bow, understanding your equipment, and getting used to it. So thanks a lot, guys, and I'll be talking to you soon.